Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SEATV News in English on the 21st of December 2012. Please have a look at the menu slides tonight. President of Cambodia's National Assembly, Samdech Heng Samrin, advised Cambodian ambassador to the Philippines, Her Excellency Tut Panya, to promote bilateral ties between the two nations.
India and 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations set their sights on new strategic partnership that would bring closer political security and economic cooperation.
A four-day conference on the Southeast Asian Federation of Engineering Organization was closed under the presidency of His Excellency Dr. Sok An, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister in charge of the Council of Ministers. The 53rd anniversary of Guinea Medicine, made by PPM Medical Enterprise, was launched under the presidency of Her Excellency Permanent Deputy Prime Minister Man Som-on, Minister of National Assembly, Senior Relations and Inspection. President of Cambodia's National Assembly, Samdech Heng Samrin, advised Cambodian ambassador to the Philippines, Her Excellency Tut Panya, to promote bilateral ties between the two nations.
President of Cambodian National Assembly, Samdech Heng Samrin, advised newly appointed Ambassador of Cambodia to the Philippines, Her Excellency Tut Panya, to pool all her efforts into promoting the bilateral ties and to react quickly to any exaggerated news against Cambodia. Samdech Heng Samrin said that, as a Cambodian ambassador to a foreign country, you have to try all your best to strengthen and expand friendship relations, solidarity and cooperation in all fields with the host country. You must react timely to any news that is deemed as slanders on Cambodia. Samdech Heng Samrin also advised her to promote Cambodia's political stability, full security, democratic process, human rights respect, and election process. He urged her to attract Filipino investors and tourists to Cambodia. Her Excellency Tut Panya told reporters after the meeting that she will do all the best to further strengthen bilateral ties and cooperation between Cambodia and the Philippines in all fields, especially investment and tourism. She added that she will leave Cambodia for the Philippines in January next year. India and 10-member Association of Southeast Asian Nations set their sights on new strategic partnership that would bring closer political security and economic cooperation.
India-ASEAN Special Commemorative Summit began in New Delhi with the participating nation vowing to step up cooperation on maritime security. In a recent statement agreed at a summit in New Delhi, India and the 10 members of Association of Southeast Asian Nations set their sights on a new strategic partnership that would bring closer political, security and economic cooperation. Significantly, they underlined the need for freedom of navigation, a contentious issue because of competing claims with Beijing over parts of the South China Sea, though there was no mention of China in their statements. Talking on this issue, Indian Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh emphasized on the need for the intensification of maritime security in the region. Dr. Manmohan Singh added that India and ASEAN nations should identify their engagements for maritime security and safety, for freedom of navigation, and for peaceful settlement of maritime disputes in accordance with international law. He added that all parties should also foster regional cooperation to counter piracy and respond to natural disasters. The India-ASEAN Summit also saw the conclusion of the free trade agreement among the participating nations, which is seen as a key move aimed at strengthening economic engagement between the regions. After the commencement of free trade agreement in August last year, both sides were engaged in widening the base of the pact by including service and investments. Presently, the signing of the pact can lead to far-reaching consequences, with expectation of trade going up to $100 billion by 2015. Dr. Manmohan Singh continued that this engagement has flourished particularly in the area of trade. India's and ASEAN trade has grown over 10 times in 10 years since both parties have launched the annual summits. Following the implementation of the Free Trade Area Agreement in goods, trade grew by 41% in Indian fiscal years of 2011-2012. The two-way flow investments have also grown rapidly to reach $43 billion over the past decade. As ASEAN investment in India have multiplied, ASEAN countries have emerged as major destinations for Indian companies. Trade between India and the 10 members of ASEAN was up to $80 billion last year, compared with $47 billion in 2008. The participating nations also talk about the issue of connectivity in the region through the medium of ASEAN Connectivity Master Plan, in which India would be joined by road routes to its Southeast Asian neighbors. Under this master plan, several connectivity projects are to be undertaken among the ASEAN countries, with the special ones being two vital road projects, including India-Myanmar Thailand Trilateral Highway Project and its further extensions. The New Delhi Summit underscored India's growing role in one of the world's fastest-growing regions. 20 years after India launched a Look East diplomatic push to promote trade with a neglected neighboring region, the relationship is finally beginning to gain traction. Annual trade has nearly doubled in 4 years, and India's growing economic clout makes it appealing as a balance to other Asian powers. A 4-day conference on the Southeast Asian Federation of Engineering Organization was closed under the presidency of His Excellency Dr. Sok An, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister in charge of the Council of Ministers.
His Excellency Dr. Sok An, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister in charge of the Council of Ministers, and Chairman of the Council of Board of Engineers Cambodia, presided over the closing of the 30th Conference of Asian Federation of Engineering Organizations under the theme Advantage of Integration of Engineering Service for least developed Asian member countries. On behalf of Samdech Techo Hun Sen, Prime Minister of Cambodia, His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An expressed his warm welcome and appreciation to the delegates of the Asian Federation of Engineering Organizations from the Asian member countries. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An addressed that the Asian Federation of Engineering Organizations plays an important role in contributing to realizing the Asian economic community by promoting the integration of the region, interaction among engineers and skilled labor mobility, especially by facilitating the providing engineers from least developed Asian member states with the equal opportunity to practice their professions with the Asian bloc in accordance with the direction of service liberalization in the region and in the world. The conference of the Asian Federation of Engineering Organization is the forum for sharing experiences in engineering service in their respective countries as well as in Asian region as whole. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An added that with cooperation among the Asian Federation of Engineering Organization members, the conference recognized the significance of the cooperation in engineering development, with one particular suggestion on developing cooperation framework facing ASEAN 2015 Free Trade Area in Engineering Service took account of building partnership with private sector and developing partners for implementing regional projects and encourage the promotion of an integrated engineering service for infrastructure development, as well as harmonization of laws and policy related to service liberalization. Moreover, engineers can be regarded as bridge linking technology to society. In this sense, engineers should be actively engaged in experiences, sharing with one another to improve their knowledge under the Asian Mutual Recognition Arrangement on Engineering Service. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An strongly believes that engineers of all Asian countries will have the chance to work and learn from each other in order to strengthen their capacity and to promote socio-economic development, as well as to improve harmonization in the region as one Asian family. On behalf of the Royal Government of Cambodia and the Council of Board of Engineers Cambodia, His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An strongly encouraged closer operation among engineers from member countries to place one focus on engineering research and dissemination of its results, collection and compilation of documents aiming at improving their expertise, technical and professional capacity. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An said that Cambodian government has signed an action plan with Asia-Pacific Group to prevent dirty money laundering. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An, Minister in charge of the Office of the Council of Ministers of Cambodia, has met Mr. David Shannon, Senior Operational Officer of Secretariat of Asia-Pacific Group on Money Laundering and International Cooperation Revenue Group. Mr. David Shannon said that his visit to Cambodia is intended to study draft law and procedure to prepare for preventive measures on dirty money laundering. He continued that Asia-Pacific Group will attend to hold discussion on the issues and other arising concerns related to review work on international cooperation, as well as holding a discussion about any developments in Cambodia related to illegal acts of dirty money laundering. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An said that since June 2011, Cambodian government has signed action plan with Asia-Pacific Group, with 5 points including punishment on money clearing and terrorist financial prevention, establishing and setting up identity procedure, and freezing of terrorist property, and launching procedure to sign funds related to money laundering, guaranteeing institutions to hold investigation on financial implementation through a full cooperation and effectiveness to invent and implement effective trans-border case operation revenue. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An added that Cambodian government has been working closely with Asia-Pacific Group to comply with principles in the name of member of Asia-Pacific Group. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister Sok An has expressed a strong belief that technical team from Asia-Pacific Group and National Bank of Cambodia will continue technical work on draft law in order to send law working group to review before being submitted to the Cabinet of the Council of Ministers.
The 53rd anniversary of Guinea Medicine, made by PPM Medical Enterprise, was launched under the presidency of Her Excellency Permanent Deputy Prime Minister Man Som-on, Minister of National Assembly, Senate Relations and Inspection.
Her Excellency Permanent Deputy Prime Minister Man Som-on, Ministers of National Assembly, Senate Relations and Inspections, presided over the 53rd anniversary of Guinea Medicine at PPM Medical Enterprise, located in Phnom Penh, capital city. Medical Dr. Hai Lieng, General Director President of PPM Medical Enterprise, said that Quinal is a type of fever healing medicine made on the 18th of December 1960. Until today, the medicine has been exported to 20 countries in Africa and Southeast Asia, including Laos, Vietnam, and Myanmar. Whereas PPM Medical Enterprise was the first private project in Asia, established in 1996 and supported by European Community Investment Partner Program. On the occasion, Her Excellency Permanent Deputy Prime Minister Man Som-on expressed a high appreciation for the achievements of PPM Medical Enterprise, which has been producing quality medicines to contribute in health sector and take part in strengthening social welfare in Cambodia. She addressed that the celebration of 53rd anniversary is celebrated as the Royal Cambodian government has been strengthening of the health sector and trying to the promotions on an export of Cambodian medicine products into international markets.
218 military personnel from Field Engineer Unit 612 of Royal Cambodian Armed Forces are sent to fulfill the United Nations mission in Lebanon.
The sending of ceremony for Field Engineer Unit 612 of Royal Cambodian Armed Forces to the United Nations missions in Lebanon was held at Phnom Penh Military Air Base under the presidencies of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, Commander-in-Chief General Paul Sarun, and the United Nations Coordinator to Cambodia, Mr. Douglas Broderick, with participation of high-ranking officials of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, attaché, and families of the sent of military personnel. His Excellency Lieutenant General Sam Sawani, Director General of the National Center for Peacekeeping Forces, Mine and Explosive Remnant of War Clearance of Cambodia, reported that The 218 military personnel are sent to replace the second forces group, who have just finished their one-year peacekeeping operation in Lebanon. Mr. Douglas Broderick, coordinator of the United Nations Development Program to Cambodia, highly appreciated Cambodia for providing assistance to countries affected by conflict and instability. He continued that the participation of Cambodian military personnel in the UN peacekeeping missions would raise not only military profile by themselves and Cambodia, but also the whole world. His Excellency General Paul Sarun, Commander-in-Chief of the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, addressed that the 218 engineering forces will carry out their one-year missions in Lebanon, performing some tasks including demining, building physical infrastructure, producing pure drinking water, and providing a medical treatment to Lebanon people. His Excellency General Paul Sarun also advised all military forces to firmly respect independence and sovereignty of Lebanon, as well as trying to work hard on humanitarian assistance missions to get a success.
The Czech Republic will open its embassy in Cambodia soon in the response to the development of relationship and cooperation between both countries, Cambodia and the Czech Republic.
His Excellency Ojborod, Secretary of State of the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, received His Excellency Vítězslav Graf, a newly appointed ambassador of the Czech Republic. His Excellency Ambassador said that Czech government will open its embassy in Phnom Penh of Cambodia soon in the response to the development of relationships and cooperation between both countries, Cambodia and Czech Republic. His Excellency Vítězslav Graf expressed his pleasures for his diplomatic missions in Cambodia. At the meeting, His Excellency Vítězslav Graf spoke highly of the good relations between Cambodia and the Czech Republic. Therefore, His Excellency added that the Czech Republic has considered Cambodia as a prioritized country that it will have in all domains including health, education, agriculture, and energy. His Excellency Vítězslav Graf also pledged to try his best to boost the relations as well as the experience exchange between Cambodia and Czech Republic through visit exchange and to promote the trade activity and economic relations between the two countries. His Excellency Ojborod expressed warm welcome to His Excellency Vítězslav Graf, and he was convinced that through his mission in Cambodia, the diplomatic relations and cooperation between the two nations will be further strengthened and expanded. His Excellency Ojborod also thanks the government and people of Czech Republic for having provided support to the development of Cambodia, particularly for having returned off the debts Cambodia owed to the Czechoslovak Socialist Republic, more than $3 million in the 80s, and turning the debt to the development assistance on agriculture, education, health, and providing scholarship to Cambodian students to continue their study in Czech Republic.
50 trainees of Royal Cambodian Armed Forces have successfully finished their training at the Training Center for Peacekeeping Forces, Mine Clearance and Unexploded Remnant of War. After completing 6 months mine clearance skill training, 50 trainees from Unity Forces of Cambodian Royal Armed Forces have successfully finished their training course at the Training Center for Peacekeeping Forces, Mine Clearance and Unexploded Remnant of War. The event was attended by His Excellency Ojborod, Secretary of State of Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and His Excellency Phan Quang Sia, Chinese Ambassador to Cambodia, with participation from related officials of ministries. Major General Tang Sambon, Director of the Training Center for Peacekeeping Forces, Mine Clearance and Unexploded Remnant of War, said that training on theory, ground practice and operation on landmine which lasts 1 week with the concentration on technical training skills and mine clearance including form of mine and explosive mine detector uses, landmine distribution, operational procedure through eye inspection, signal observation, mine digging, mine clearance equipment on wave signal, action on mine area and war remnant, as well keeping the explosive transportation, training how to destroy unexploded remnant of war, procedure to destroy unexploded remnant of war, emergency saving procedure preparation, force art and clearing. On the occasion, His Excellency Ojborat has informed trainees to continue paying a serious attention to implement their work, include respect regulation, discipline of Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, as well as cover key technique in compliance with national and international standards to achieve work fulfillment. That's all for our news program. Please have a nice weekend. Good night.